Well, here are some of the pictures you sent in. First is this picture of a car accident at Alakoko Road, Ojokoro in Lagos. Our eyewitness reporter attributes this to overspeeding, urging motorists to be more cautious. Next is another picture of a poorly loaded vehicle at Omole Road in Isheri area of Bega, Lagos. Our eyewitness reporter pleads with the men of the Federal Road Safety Corps to check this ugly trend by motorists. Well, finally is this picture showing the University of Ibadan Teaching Hospital in Oyo State. The air pollution coming from this industrial facility is hazardous to the health of residents and patients at the hospitals and its environs. I'd like to thank you for sending those pictures and ask you to keep sending them in. The Bring Back Our Girls campaigners in Abuja have launched a formal 6-week countdown for the rescue of the abducted Chibok girls who have been in captivity since April last year. According to the group, this will help them monitor activities of the multinational forces who are trying to eradicate insurgents and rescue the Chibok girls from their captors.
What do we want?
Our girls back now and alive.
What do we want?
Our girls back now and alive.
The Bring Back Our Girls group has consistently in the last 291 days pressured the government to rescue the over 200 schoolgirls adopted from Chibok in April last year without the desired result. This time around, they are launching a 6-week countdown for the rescue of the girls following the request from the military that led to the postponement of the elections last week.
The key reason adduced for the postponement of the election is to enable a massive operation against the terrorists and being able to restore peace and security to the northeast, and in the process rout the terrorists and rescue our Chibok girls. We as a movement that has been advocating for these girls are happy to begin a countdown that would enable us on a daily basis to monitor the progress.
The group has also expressed confidence in government's ability to restore security in the northeast and rescue of the schoolgirls.
Ours is with the government. We believe so much in the government and we know that our government is capable. And right now our government has given their words. The president himself on the presidential media chat, we saw him, he came out to say that within the 6 weeks the girls will be rescued. But the only thing we are doing is that we are holding our government to that. We are holding our president to his words. He has given us his words, and then we are hoping that in those days the girls will be back.
The chairman of Chibok community in Abuja also confirmed that feelings of security returned to his community in the last few weeks.
The general feeling at Chibok now, especially in Chibok town, there is a feeling of security because there is presence of army in Chibok since the time that the Boko Haram threatened that they are gathering up about 5,000 men to come and sack Chibok. We complained, and Nigerian army has sent some troops there.
Meanwhile, other members of the group believe things could get worse if the government fails this time around.
They had for postponing the elections. It's not an issue now. It has been postponed. If they are saying it's for them to rescue the Chibok girls and do it, good and fine. But Nigerians be vigilant. Let's see if that's the rule. Before you know, it's 6 weeks. You're able to get the guests out, good and fine. But if you're unable to get the guests out within 6 weeks and things remain the same, it will be unfortunate for this country.
The Nigerian security heads are requested for 6 weeks to mop up their operations against Boko Haram in the northeast before the elections, now rescheduled for March 28. Having granted this request, Nigerians, including this group, hope that words will be matched with actions and peace restored to the troubled areas.
Efforts to ensure a violence-free elections are continuing across the country. In Ekiti State, all political parties have signed a peace pact ahead of the polls. The Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 8, Christopher Dega, who represented the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, advised supporters of all the political parties to respect the peace accord.
Just as I told you that
peace during and after the elections is topmost in everyone's mind. That's why in Ekiti State, the Governor Ayode Fayose and some other political party leaders have gathered to sign a peace pact. One by one, the party leaders take turns as they make a commitment to engage in the peaceful conduct of the elections through the signing of a memorandum of understanding.
carrying violent forces is no longer fashionable. Fighting in an election is no longer fashionable. My election has demonstrated it. And again, let me tell you, whatever connection you have with the police or any of the agencies cannot help. What will save anybody is the connection with the people. In the interest of ensuring permanent peace, good governance around here, and respect for one another, that the police should continue to intensify their efforts to bring everybody, no matter how it is, to book when criminalities are perpetrated.
According to the Nigerian police, the exercise is important as it will enable them to tackle any form of violence during and after the polls.
Peace, security, safety is what the whole essence is about. And we needed to call people to drum it further into their psyche that violence does nobody any good, and that at the end of the day, you will not know who will suffer the violence directly or indirectly. But be that as it may, the emphasis is that there should be peace, there should be security, there should be no violence of any kind.
Although the elections are still a few weeks ahead, one can only hope that the peace pact signed is not only on paper, but will reflect in the way party leaders and supporters conduct themselves during and after the elections.
Now in Edo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission has restated its commitment to conduct a free, fair and credible polls this year. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Mike Igini, said this during a meeting between concerned groups and the Commission in Benin City, the state capital. Mr. Igini also explained that apart from concluding the training of staff for the elections, the Commission has also put in place everything necessary to ensure a hitch-free exercise.
This is the first official meeting between the Independent National Electoral Commission in Edo State and the key players in the political arena since the postponement of the 2015 general elections. The Commission convenes this meeting of leaders of the different political parties, the Inter-Party Advisory Council and the media to update them on its preparations ahead of the new dates. The Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mike Igini, insists that while the postponement is not to punish any political party, it will afford the Commission another opportunity to reach out to those yet to get their permanent voter cards, especially those that registered late last year.
About 81 cartons were delivered, being sorted out now, particularly those who were for the CVR. Now we have their PVC. But all outstanding PVCs yet to be collected will continue.
He also seized the opportunity to bring them up to speed about the number of card readers available in Edo State and how they will be deployed for the elections.
This card reader is the audit trail, evidential audit trail required by the collation officer that he will have to go to collect from the presiding officer before he does anything.
Emerging from the meeting, the representatives of the political parties bear their minds on their expectations from INEC.
We went through the process of explaining from the position of preparing for the election, accreditation, voting, and post-voting. And this is very important when we are all certain that the people's will prevail at elections.
Most in the area of the corridor, understand? I believe with the introduction of the corridor, I believe this the introduction is quite different from every other election as far as introduction is concerned.
Well, first, we have every reason to believe that INEC is prepared to conduct free and fair election, and all the gray areas we were not really sure of, he has answered questions on them.
The resident electoral commissioner also implored the electorate in the state to improve on the turnout for the 2011 election, as the number of those that voted in that election was far lower than the number of persons registered.
Away from electoral matters, President Goodluck Jonathan has reassured widows of Nigeria's fallen heroes of his administration's resolve to ensure that none of them suffers unduly because of the death of their husbands. The president also gave the assurance that his administration will ensure that the Victim Support Fund launched to help them is given greater support. The president said this at a dinner in honor of the wives of the fallen heroes at the conference hall in the presidential villa.
We appreciate the services of your husbands, your fathers, indeed the armed forces, paramilitary, military and security and intelligence agencies, because we sleep while they are in the field. And while protecting the nation, some of them paid the supreme sacrifice. That's why I personally get extremely angry when some people make utterances that are not expected of them. All nations respect their military. They respect their intelligence services. Because without these people, we couldn't have been here. Without these people, there wouldn't have been any Nigeria. What keeps us together as a nation is the activities of these people. And I would use this opportunity to call on all of us Nigerians to continue to show gratitude and appreciation to our security services. Let me sincerely commend the wives and children of those who, in cause of duty, have to pay the supreme sacrifice. Because it is not easy to be a widow. It is not easy to be an orphan, especially when the children are still very young. But you've shown commitment to your nation, you've shown patriotism, and you have taken it kindly. All what we can assure you this evening is that government will continue to support you.
President Goodluck Jonathan speaking at a dinner to honor the wives of fallen heroes. Now, the military says it has repelled an attack by Boko Haram militants on Gombe, the state capital of Gombe State in northeastern Nigeria. Heavily armed members of the sect were said to have overwhelmed a security checkpoint on the outskirts of the city before moving in to attack an army barracks there. The police spokesman in Gombe State, Fwaji Atajiri, told Channels Television that the militants threw a grenade into the army facility, which started a fire when it exploded, but no casualty was reported. Defense spokesman Major General Chris Olukolade says troops successfully beat back the terrorists and are still on their trail.
In the early hours of this morning, the terrorists came in through Dadinkowa and tried to attack some part of the town. They even made a daring attack around military formation. However, within a short while, the troops have repelled them. At the moment, they are in pursuit. Some of them are being pursued towards Yobe, and they are running in different directions, but there's pursuit ongoing at the moment. Their mission was to come circulating a threat letter that people should not come out and vote. Perhaps that's the mission of the attack. It is true, but the important thing is they could not achieve that intention of being able to distribute their letter.
Defense spokesman Major General Chris Olukolade Expect a hike in the price of some products in the market if there is no reversal in the energy tariff slammed on industrialists at the Harbour Industrial Layout, Onitsha, Anambra State. This threat is coming from the business operators and residents in the area who protested what they describe as a scandalous increase in energy charges approved by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission for the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC. They say the increase for industrial and residential consumers is unfair and unaffordable.
This is Harbour Industrial Layout, Onitsha, where high, medium and small-scale industries are mostly sited alongside residential buildings. The peace of this community was disturbed following a sudden rise in electricity charges, which they said was a 95% increase, as it rose from 23 naira 97 kobo per unit charge to 46 naira 66 kobo per unit charge presently. They stormed the office of the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, Ogbaru District.
We can't talk. Every day, increase. Every day, increase. Every day, increase. The whole Harbour Industrial Layout, we are submerged by fraud since 2012. We are battling to see a way out. Government didn't give us cover.
The protesters say that even with the increase, the power distribution is still epileptic, and they're calling for a reversal to the old charge.
When they were talking about the privatization, we were hailing the government for doing it. This privatization was not done to collect money. Privatization was done to improve the power.
If we are forced to close shops, a lot of people will be thrown into the labor market. And if we are forced to pay this money in the next 2 or 3 months, you will see the multiplier effect in the market.
Upon their entry into the office of one of the officials of the EEDC, who was to address them, the officer made for channel television cameras and blocked the lens with his palm, insisting that everybody should leave the office. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the EEDC, Mr. Robert Dickerman, said that tariffs are set by a regulatory body and not by the company.
There's been a lot of work in the first year since privatization to actually calculate the new cost-reflective tariff. And on January 1, NERC announced, actually effective January 1 of 2015, NERC announced a new tariff for all classes. And they did 2 things. One is they changed the tariff on all classes, and there were increases, unfortunately, for all tariff classes. And the second thing that NERC did is that they announced a suspension of the increase for residential customers.
And the constant power failure?
We, as a private company or a distribution company, we have significantly improved the efficiency of our distribution, but unfortunately we're still only getting a small amount of power. For example, right now, nationally, only about 3,000 megawatts of electricity is being generated. It has been as high as 4,000, 4,400, but right now it's only running about 3,000.
For the Harbour Industrial Layout occupants, they have made their grounds clear and are waiting for the EEDC to act on it.
When the news at 10 returns, Valentine shoppers feel the financial pinch as they comb Lagos markets in search of gift items for their loved ones. That's on Business News. Please join us again.